but Saturday's what y'all are ready for, because you know Saturday we are in the park. It's Pop Smoke Day.
Get out of
so
here.
We start off, you know, we've added a parade. So we start off with a parade. We've got motorcycles, we've got exotic cars, we've got loud music, we've got dancing. We just marching down and we get to the park. And then it's basketball and food and fun and games and all those kinds of things. But what we've added this year, because again, I want to make sure I continue to appeal to his base. And because this year is his 25th year in time, right? We are having his 25th birthday party. And so we're doing that at Bogart House, and it's going to be everything. We're going to have a mini museum, you know, different floors, different DJs on each floor, food, you name it. We're doing it right. It's a rooftop. We outside.
So, you know, we have to also put it out there, right? There were some series of interviews from, you know, the gentleman who was involved, but that's not what we really want to know. We want to know, how do you feel about people wanting to interview someone like that? Should they not be interviewing them? And do you think that maybe it's clickbait?
For something like this, that is horrible. You really want to interview him and get his opinion and get his position. First of all, you're not helping him, because the whole purpose in LA's law is that at 25 you get out, you try to make something of yourself. You try to do something with your life. Hopefully there's been some sort of reform. But you come out and people are like, yo, bro, how you feel about what you did? That's not helping anybody. It's not helping anybody. So as you're sharing with me about gag orders, I'm going to go look into that, because that makes sense to me.
So you would consider having a gag order where he can't necessarily, or anyone involved can't speak on your son's name per se?
That's right. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense. Stop talking about him. Do what you want to do. Say what you want to say, but do that with your own stuff. Don't use my dead child's name to get you some fame. And what kind of fame is that? Like, I really hope nobody's paying them to do what he's doing. Because that's you have no conscience.
Well, on a positive.
For this made smoother than your smoothest criminal. Shamo, about that money, what we get into. Shamo, about that money, get residuals. Shamo.
What it do, people? You're now tuned in.
Popovich
TV.
Oh yeah.
We live, we rolling, we unscripted, we authentic, that feeling back up in here one more again. So if it's your first time, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. To everybody else, you already know. Tony, there was no other way. We in the end game now. And we is in the end game, people. And we in the end game because that clip you seen spinning was of Miss Aubrey Jackson, or better known now as Pop Smoke's moms. Rest in peace and condolences to their family. And TMZ was, asking her as his birthday was drawing close. I believe his birthday was on the 20th, and this would have been his 25th year on the planet. So on the clip, you could see her excited and, in a celebratory manner, and just remembering her son and the good, and talking about her foundation, Shoot for the Stars, etc., and what they got planned for his birthday. Now I spoke about this on my live, and I also did a video about AdaM22 and, was he wrong for interviewing the brother? Is he a culture vulture, etc.? Was it distasteful? And I'm sure she's been getting a lot of questions from a lot of different people, and even TMZ want to know, like, well, what did you think of it? Was it clickbait? And, I guess the lady off camera was telling her about the gag order, and then she gave her thoughts on it. So I really just wanted to piggyback on what she had to say in reference to, she like, well, don't use my dead son to try to get fame and publicity, and build yourself up. And I agree with that. However, like the Cam and the Mace and the Big L, and I'm from Harlem, so I'm in the know. If you know, you know. And when they came out and was speaking about, what allegedly happened, maybe kind of sort of, I'm gonna just add that on there. A lot of people call cap, you know what I'm saying? And I'm one of them on certain things that was said. However, like Martin Lawrence once famously said, I gotta talk about my life and how I see it, and I see it as such. Like, I get that she don't want, or think it's distasteful for the brother to come home and try to get fame, if you will, or nowadays quote unquote clout. However, this is his life. And if he was to write a book, this would probably be in his book. Not that he should glorify it, but that's like if you did crime, you sold drugs, you know, the Alpos of the world, you did this, then you went to prison, you came home, you snitched, or the Jay-Z's of the world, you sold drugs, you know what I mean, you went to jail, you almost got killed, now you a big rapper. We all have lives and we all have, you know, our paths to walk. Obviously, for somebody in her shoes who it was done to, who in some of the other interviews, who we starting to see spinning the clip now of her, you know, talking about it and, you know, doing things. And it's been 4 years, right? So she's still saying, you know, certain things is hard to deal with, you know, certain memories or certain things that may pull at your, you know, your heartstrings, you know, if you will. And that's a mother who lost her son, you know what I mean? And that's not her only child, but obviously, you know, you hear people say all the time, a mother or parents should never have to bury their kids. It should be the other way around. We should watch our parents get old and then care for them and then bury them and be there, you know, obviously in their later years. So I totally understand where she's coming from. The gag order legally, I'm not going to say she can do it or she can't do it. I just personally feel like, you know, although her son is a part of this dude's, you know, life now and his story, if he was to write a book or, you know, talk about his life as he did on the AdaM22 podcast. And I did watch the interview. And if you didn't catch the, you know, the video, you can go watch the other video I did. But just real briefly, I didn't think it was, you know, out of line. I feel like, you know, if Charles Manson could be interviewed, Ted Bundy or any killer or psycho or what have you, and people that do just the unthinkable things. That's why they have certain crime shows and the evil that lives next door or the man down the block or the white, you know, they have these series and these TV shows because it is an interest. People do want to know what goes on in the mind of somebody that can do some of the things that people do. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, you know, not that she's wrong. I believe her feelings and her emotions is valid. I don't know if she can get away with it legally, but I also want to address a part in the clip where she said, you know, you're supposed to come home and, you know, hopefully be rehabilitated. And for somebody that had been up north, you know, a few times, y'all know on the channels I like to plainly say, I'm not an angel. You know, prison, if you're doing hard time and not like the county or the jail or Rikers or well, I'm saying Rikers because I'm from New York, but wherever you may be, the local county or whatever, obviously when you go up north, again, I'm from New York, so we reference upstate prison system as up north. You know, it's not a country club, and when you're doing hard time, you're there with other hardcore criminals, and oftentimes, I shouldn't even say sometimes, you're there with the lowest of the low. You're dealing with the scum of the earth a lot of times. And yeah, that's some of your cousins. That's some of your brothers and your uncles and your pops and them. And yeah, and I said that to say prison is not to reform you. Prison is to break you down and make you worse than what you went in. However, you do have brothers that want to rehabilitate themselves. They want to better themselves. They know that they fucked up. They know that they made an error and now they in there, wasting time. Death to vacancy, as Nas once said on his album. You in there and it's a death to vacancy, an empty cell vacancy, although it's not vacant because you actually living in the cell. And yes, for the people in the back, it's programs, it's vocation. And I took some of these vocations, plumbing, electrician, carpentry. I was good at some and I sucked at others. It's transitional services, it's school, and I often play on the channel. If you're familiar, when I got my GED up north right after completing ABE, and I know how to count 1, 2, 3. I'm being funny, but I'm not. However, it's a pool of criminals. And they all in there living out the glory days and plotting on, not all, but most. When they get back out, who they gonna link up with. Violence is crazy. It's nothing but gang activities. You in there with officers that don't give a fuck about you. They're racist most time. They beating on the prisoners. They're abusing their power. So it's an unpleasant place. And yes, if you break the law, you know what I'm gonna say next. You hate the law, nigga, break it. I don't care. But when you get caught, remember that. I don't care. So yeah, you put yourself there. You got caught. You did the crime. Now it's time for you to do your time. But it's not like you going away to college. It's not like you going away to the army. And now you coming home, with a whole new purpose and a whole new mindset. Yes, Malcolm X did time in prison. and you can come home and revolutionize, the mindset of a people, and you can mobilize a group. But that's not all people. That's not all people. Niggas in there watching BT, watching videos, looking at, Short Ice or porn magazines and the latest straight stunt magazines. Rest in peace to K Slay. I don't even know if they still making those magazines, but, it's just something for her to, think about as far as the young brother. It's not over for him. Obviously, his life is not over. And who knows, will he be the next revolutionary? I doubt it. He might be the next rapper and he might make it big. Who knows? But hopefully he does go on to make a negative into a positive, and I won't say all good like Biggie Smalls and baby, but maybe he will make something out of his life, and obviously maybe she will make peace, as I heard her say in a few interviews. She's not ready to forgive, but she's just trying to move on. She don't really be online with it and looking at everything people say, but she said people do bring her, like they call up and, hey Ma, you all right, and did you see this, and did you hear this? And she got her foundation now, Shoot for the Stars. Gave a little side eye when I heard it. Obviously, that is a saying, shoot for the stars so you can land on the moon. And, I'm not really knocking the name of the title, but, obviously with her son being killed by gun violence and, him rapping about guns and killing people, I wonder what she think about his music. Like Biggie Smalls' moms, obviously she was, from the West Indies or had a strong background and kind of like didn't really much care for it till you watch the movie, and she like, while they was coming down the block in the hearse and all that, somebody turned on the radio and she heard, her son music, and it was a proud moment. It probably was aha, I see, that my son moved the people and he moved the culture. Maybe she feel that way about her son. Obviously, I don't know if he's the youngest or the oldest, but he died at 20. And so, we sending prayers and positivity to them. And, I also wanted to just briefly before we get out of here, like a lot of mothers of gun violence, I'm sure they never thought their sons would be gunned down, or maybe some have, if their son is about that life and they know about it, that they would start a foundation, etc. But I often quote, a lot of times, we don't care about a thing until the thing is right at our doorstep. It's right in our apartment. It's in our house and we sleeping with it. Then we want to get out and campaign. Then we want to get out and rally. Then we want to say people shouldn't drunk drive and people shouldn't do this, and we want to be advocates. And there's nothing wrong with that, because, you don't want to get out and talk about drugs until you see your mother overdose, till you see your girlfriend or your best man. Then you want to get out and spread the word. So I think it's noble, but I just often look at people like, I wonder if you would have been doing some of these things prior to the misfortune. But what you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment. It's your guy, Popovich. Y'all was just tuned in. Popovich TV. We live, we rolling, we unscripted, we authentic. That feeling back up in here one more again. Yeah, kid.